Okay, Jay Croucher here with Grant Liffmann to talk about teams in the lottery who represent the biggest question marks in the draft. Grant, who are those 5 teams for you?
Well, number one's got to be the Utah Jazz sitting there at the number 2 pick. And a lot of it is not even in their fault. They just don't know who the Washington Wizards are going to take. Are they going to take DeBonsa? Are they going to take Peterson and so on? If DeBonsa falls to Utah, I cannot imagine them passing on him. That'd be so hard, especially with his BYU ties, Ryan Smith ties, all of that. DeBonsa, could Utah move up and get DeBonsa? That is the other question mark. That is something that potentially could happen if they're really all in. But DeBonsa would be a guy that would not fall past number 2. But let's say DeBonsa is taken number 1. Which way does he go? So which way does Utah go? Does Peterson go number 2? Does Peterson fall past that? And then after that, could Cam Boozer be the right guy for a Utah team that already has front court help? They have Lauri Markkanen. They have Jaren Jackson Jr. Could they bring back Walker Kessler? Does Boozer fit that? Many would say you got to take the best player available. And I do agree, usually at that spot, you do so. And I do think Peterson would be that guy. However, you have to remember, this is a Utah team that feels like they are going for it. They are trying to really push to the next level. Sometimes positionally, making the right team is better than just taking a collection of talent. That's what sometimes happens at this point.
No, I think that makes sense. I think that while the consensus is that the Jazz are just going to take whoever is left over of DeBonsa and Peterson, certainly it may get more complex than that. Let's hit the Clippers, Grant, who are a very fascinating team. They cash the 48% chance of getting that pick, and they pick at 5. What is compelling to you about LA?
Yeah, so I've said for a while that Keaton Wagler would be my guy outside that top 4 that I really go with. And there's a reason why his name keeps on getting brought up with the Clippers, because you plug him next to someone like Darius Garland, you're putting more length in a player like Wagler. He can play make. He has the right mindset. He can really shoot that ball, extend the floor, put him next to Garland. Those are 2 guys that really give Kawhi Leonard space. And Kawhi Leonard throughout the season, and even to me while I was reporting on him, during the games, would say, we need 3-point shooting. I need space. So Wagler is a guy that spaces the floor. But Wagler also is a development guy. He's not ready to come in right now and just take over. So are the Clippers a team that, well, you have Kawhi Leonard playing at an amazing level right now? Are they more of a win now type team? Could they use that 5th pick and leverage it for a bigger trade? I would not put that past them. They are a team that usually goes for the big fish hunting. They've been known to do it for years now under Steve Ballmer. So we will see which direction they go. They do have an inflection point right now. Garland is young. They have some youth on their team. Do they also go young? Wagler would make sense, but not crazy if they trade out.
Yeah. Another team that in the past has gone big fish hunting, though certainly not positioned to do so at the moment. That's the Brooklyn Nets, who were one of the big losers on lottery night, had a very strange draft last year. What are you expecting from them this year?
This is the reason they're a question mark, is they can go any direction. Their roster needs everything and anything. And that is why it is confusing to so many. They're saying, hey, they're just open. And they took 5 first-round picks last season, and a lot of them were guards. And it just so happens this team, this league, this draft is built on guards, and that's what they need. But at the same time, it's like, are they good enough from last year? Do they feel happy with Yegor Damon and those guys? Or do they say, hey, Darius Acuff, Kingston Flemings, if Wagler falls, could they also trade out of that spot and try to collect more assets? You know, you have a team like OKC that has a couple firsts. You have a couple other teams that have multiple picks. Could they try to move back and maybe even acquire a young player in the process? Those are the question marks. And hey, maybe the best thing that can happen for a Brooklyn Nets team is to have nobody know what they're going to do and be able to fire away like that, because really any option is an option for them.
Yeah, I would say that having Nolan Traore and Yegor Demon should not preclude them from doing anything. If they think that Darius Acuff is the best guy available at 6 where they're picking, they should just take him. But a team that is very much in the same boat as the Nets is the team picking directly after them, Grant, that's the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, it actually is a very similar situation as the Nets in that they can go multiple directions. And this one might be one of those situations where they say, hey, this is our chance to get a guard and let's build with him. And so that is up to them, hoping that 5 or 6, if the guy they want is still there, or if the guy they're very happy with, and just say, hey, this is a cornerstone piece for us. There's plenty of people that have talked about Darius Acuff here. Acuff could go to Brooklyn. He could go higher. But like Acuff is a guy that is just an offensive generator, a guy that can come in and just put up points. And maybe that's something the Kings need, is a guy that can just put the ball in his hands and say, hey, take over for us. They could go that way. Or they could go with more of the practical, like more stalwart guy that can maybe kind of solidify a position, like a Kingston Flemings, who really is more of a playmaker, run the floor, really just kind of get to the rim, kind of start the blender, those type of ideas. There's just many different ways the Sacramento Kings to go. The one thing I know is they're disappointed to be all the way at 7. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And our last team to hit on the Milwaukee Bucks. And I think this one explains itself. They're picking at 10. It may not be their only pick in the draft by the time we get to draft night if Giannis Antetokounmpo is traded. But they're stuck in this purgatory for now, where either they could be drafting with a complete blank slate of a team as they look down the barrel of a half-decade rebuild, or they could be drafting or potentially trading a pick to try and contend with Giannis, signing an extension. Who knows? So what's compelling to you about the Bucks?
That's exactly it. Really, at the end of the day, where's Giannis going and what's going to happen with this? Because there's just so many different ways you can do it. Let's say, what if Giannis gets traded and now they have the 10th and 13th pick? Do they use that to move up, or do they actually just stay there and take 2 guys? But we were just talking about situations like Brooklyn, where they can trade out of 6 and move up and get 2. But there's so many different variations that can happen. But at the end of the day, Giannis, that is the name that you're going to have to figure out, because that will lead to everything you need to know about the 10th pick. Are they taking that 10th pick for themselves? Are they taking that pick for somebody else? Are they moving that pick for another reason? There's so many different things at play. And on draft night, we will get more of a sense, I hope, so we don't have to keep on wondering this question forever. But that is a massive question mark with Milwaukee at 10.
Hit subscribe for more news, highlights, and analysis from the NBA on NBC.